everybody, it's Miss Lorenz. I'm going to talk about Unit 2, Lesson 2. We're representing ratios with diagrams. So let's get to it. So this first one, we have a diagram given to us, and this is a diagram of a paint mixture. So Elena has 2 cups of white paint, and she mixes it with 6 tablespoons of blue paint to make kind of a light blue paint color. And so we have to decide which of these statements correctly describes this situation. So the first one does, because it says the ratio of cups of white paint to tablespoons of blue paint is 2 to 6. And that's what we have here. We have 2 whites for every 6 blue. The second one does not, because it says for every cup of white there are 2 tablespoons of blue. No, there's not 2, there's 3. See how that goes? For every 1 cup of white there are 3 tablespoons of blue. C does work though, because it says exactly that. There's 1 cup of white for every 3 tablespoons of blue. D works as well. There are 3 tablespoons of blue for every cup of white. So you can also say that the other direction. You can, as long as your numbers and your words line up in the correct order, then that works. E does not work though, because notice it's backwards. So it says for each tablespoon of blue, there are 3 cups of white. It should say for each tablespoon of white, there are 3 cups of blue. So that one does not, the numbers and the words do not align correctly. F is correct, because it says for every 6 tablespoons of blue, there are 2 cups of white. That's what we have if we put all this together, 6 blue for every 2 cups of white. And then the last one's also correct. The ratio of tablespoons of blue to white is 6 to 2. And the next one we have Jada mixing 8 cups of flour with 2 pints of water to make a paste for an art project. So I drew this diagram, and the circle represents the flour and the square represents the water. And so I have to write 2 sentences describing this. So I said that for every 4 cups of flour, do you see how I kind of divided up that diagram? For every 4 cups of flour, you need 1 cup of water. And then I also said for every 2 cups of flour, so now I'm going to split it up even more. For every 2 cups of flour, you need, whoops, I did that wrong. Let's take that off. For every, there's the water. For every 2 cups of flour, you need 1/2 of a pint of water. See how I did that? So you could do that as well. All right, so now let's look at the paint one, green paint and white paint. And we have to do the same thing. We have to select the statements that accurately describe this diagram. The first one does, because the ratio of cups of white paint to green paint is 2 to 4. There's our 2 and there's our 4. The second one does not, it's backwards. So for every cup of green paint, there are 2 cups of white paint. It should say for every cup of white paint, there are 2 cups of green paint. 3, 4, and 5 are all correct. So 3 says the ratio of cups of green paint to white paint is 4 to 2. It is green paint to white paint, 4 to 2. For every cup of white paint, there are 2 cups of green paint. That's true if we take this diagram and chop it in half. And then lastly, the ratio of cups of green paint to white paint is 2 to 4. Oh, wait, that one's not right, you guys. This last one is not correct. The ratio of green paint to white paint is not 2 to 4. That should be 4 to 2. All right, so to make a snack mix, we are going to combine 2 cups of raisins with 4 cups of pretzels and 6 cups of almonds. First, you had to create a diagram, and this is my diagram. The 2 cups of raisins are these squares, well, as good as I can do with my magic pen here. The X's are the pretzel cups, and then the circles are the almond cups. And so the ratio of raisins plus pretzels raisins, 2 pretzels, 2 almonds is 2 to 4 to 6. And then the next one, there are how many cups of pretzels for every cup of raisins? So this is where we're going to kind of divide this up. There are 2 cups of pretzels for every 1 cup. This is the raisins. And then how many cups of almonds are there for every 1 cup of raisins? Well, there'd be 3 cups of almonds for every cup of raisins. All right, and then the last one is a review of our last unit. A square is 3 inches by 3 inches. What's its area? So we're just going to take the side of 3 times the side of 3, and we get 9 square inches. A square has a side length of 5 feet. What's its area? Well, if this side is 5 and it's a square, we know that that side is also 5. So we just do 5 times 5 and get 25 square inches. And then the last one, it says the area of the square is 36. So this whole inside space is 36. So what's the length of each side? Well, we have to figure out what do we multiply by itself. What times what gives us 36. That's also known as finding the square root. And the square root of 36, or what number times itself equals 36, is 6. So that one's 6 centimeters. All right. Thanks for listening. Hopefully you got those corrections in and are ready to go to the next one. Thanks, guys.